Welcome back to the second segment of the Cultivate the Difference series. My name is Emily and I am serving as your Minnesota FFA State President, and I am so excited to join you as we explore the idea of compassion. Continuing our masterclass of leadership themes, we will explore the true meaning of compassion, how we can show it, and how to create a compassion climate around us. So without further ado, let's get to it. At first mention, compassion comes to my mind as the warm, fuzzy feeling associated with going above and beyond to lend a helping hand, show kindness, or volunteer one's time to give back to others. Indeed, we see compassion every day, in the simple moments to the extravagant. But what exactly is compassion? To me, I've found that some of the most perspective-shifting moments of compassion are those in which I am the recipient of compassion. We know how important it is to give it, but when do we truly recognize and appreciate that action directed toward ourselves? Compassionate action to me looks like my mom offering to do my laundry when I return home from college. When I arrive back from Brookings with my bag of laundry, she greets me with a smile and offers to do the simple task of washing my clothes so that I can focus on my homework. In this moment, her intent does not see me as helpless and as though I can't do this on my own, for I do my laundry all the time when I'm at college. Rather, she sees me, a busy college student with a lot on my plate, and offers to do a simple task that helps to ease my load because she values me as her daughter and as a person. The act of giving to others in times of need and in times when we least expect it is just one way of showing compassion. But compassion isn't necessarily just giving something. Compassion is an awareness of the needs of others and a desire to help alleviate their struggles and suffering. When at its best, compassion manifests into action, and we are all worthy of receiving this compassion. But often we take for granted just how important it is to receive compassion as well as to give it. And much like the idea of respect, everyone deserves to experience compassion. We as humans are wired to feel connected and supported by one another. And when we are left not feeling this, we often feel alone, misunderstood, or unappreciated. This is why compassion is so important. Compassion cultivates these feelings to make us feel supported, to make us feel valued, and ensure us that we are all worthy of receiving kindness. Because guess what? You are. In our first month, we explored how respect is symbolized in the FFA emblem as the cross-section of corn. This month, we can also see compassion symbolized in the emblem as the essential tool for effective impact. Nestled in the heart of the emblem, the plow serves as the symbol for compassion. To a farmer, a plow is one of the most valuable pieces of machinery. A plow takes the hard, rugged ground and breaks it up to expose the rich soil underneath. Without a plow, the land would be unfit for planting, as the hard soil makes it difficult for the seeds to absorb nutrients and to grow. But just because a field needs a little plow does not mean that it does not have value. There is so much potential in the land. The plow is just the tool that we use to bring it out. What would it look like if a farmer simply scattered seeds over their land and hoped for the best? We know that this doesn't yield success. We know that there is little effort on our part needed to make the miracle of life possible. Much like in our own lives, compassion is the plow that cuts through the rugged times and exposes the feelings of kindness and of value. By cultivating compassion, we yield potential where it may have previously been ignored. By cutting through the difficulty, compassion allows us to initiate these positive feelings and begin to understand what makes an action compassionate. Compassion can be associated with that warm, fuzzy feeling that says everything is going to be all right. Another word we may associate with this feeling is empathy. Now, while this warm feeling and empathy are a part of compassion, they do not encompass the entire definition. Empathy can be defined as the ability to connect to the feelings of others and even experience their emotion, rather than just feeling bad for them. Where this definition differs from compassion is what comes after this feeling. Compassion takes this feeling of empathy and turns it into a desire to help. This action is the key difference between empathy and compassion, and the key aspect of my recent story. My mom saw me as a weary college student and decided to take action to help me feel less overwhelmed by doing my laundry. This action could be as simple as holding the door for an elderly couple, stepping up in class when you're doing a group project. Maybe it's stepping up when you see someone bullying another person and speaking out in that moment. Or maybe it's even complimenting a friend when they're having a bad day. This action can also be as significant as donating a kidney, organizing a fundraiser for a family in need, or even starting your own nonprofit to help solve a greater need. When we activate our plow of compassion, any action is enough to overturn that difficulty and allow us to show others that we care.
A time that I had received a compassionate action was when me and my mom had gone into a line for a coffee shop, and a few cars ahead of us had decided to pay it back, and it eventually reached us and our entire order was paid for, and we decided to keep it going.
One way that my family and I show compassion is during the holiday season. We each take $50 and go out into our community and help someone that we know or someone that we meet who is in need.
When I first applied to be a chapter officer, I didn't end up getting in, and one of my friends, she also didn't end up getting in. But together we were able to be compassionate for one another and find comfort in the fact that we both didn't get in, and we were also able to say, you know what, next year, there's always next year, we can apply then, and hopefully we'll get in then.
In each of these stories, we can see that feeling be put into action and the impact that it has on others. Just like these students, we can cultivate compassion in our own communities in whatever way our heart desires. From paying it forward in a drive-thru to supporting a fellow student, we can take the first step toward cultivating compassion. Taking that first step can be hard, and it sometimes can be unexpected, much like what happened to me a few weeks ago. As I was leaving Brookings to attend an FFA event, I drove past a man sitting on a street corner. As I drive closer, I notice he is holding a simple sign that reads, "Anything helps, Merry Christmas." I quickly turned my eyes back to the road, attempting not to make eye contact, for I remember about all the lessons that my parents taught me about not trusting strangers on the street. But this time, something felt different, and I glanced over at the man. We made eye contact for a brief moment, and this simple glance was all it took to get me thinking. I wish I could help, but what if I don't have anything to give, or what if it's not safe? These thoughts kept swirling in my head as I approached the interstate out of town. Before I remembered the box of granola bars in my snack bag, my brain kept bouncing back and forth until I felt a tug in my gut telling me to go back. I made a last-minute turnaround and headed back to the street corner. I walked over to the man, and as he saw me approaching, I saw his face light up with joy. I handed him the box of granola bars, and he said thank you as I wished him a Merry Christmas. As we parted ways and I continued on my journey, I thought back to what had just happened. I have passed by many people on the street before and seen many others do the same. It obviously brought the man joy and benefit that I had stopped, but why was it so hard to take that first step? Even though we know compassion is important, it is not always easy. We've all been in these situations where we feel that tug in our gut telling us to do something, but we may feel unsafe, nervous, or simply don't know what to do. It's always a good idea to make careful choices about how we interact with the world around us, especially in unpredictable situations. Even if we know that it's safe, it can always still be hard to take that first step. It's not always easy to go against the crowd. It's not always easy to ask for help when we're struggling. And it's not always easy to show compassion if we are not feeling it ourselves. But when we do show and receive compassion, we feel stronger than our fears and are inspired to share this feeling with others. As we continue to explore compassion, we'll dive deeper into some more ideas about how we can recognize times when compassion is driven by self-intent, how to show kindness and serve others safely and wisely, and how members are tying into this value across the country and in Minnesota to serve their chapters and their communities. One of my favorite quotes about compassion comes from the Greek philosopher Plato. He states, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle." As we go about our lives, we don't know what battles our friends, neighbors, or strangers may be facing. This is why compassion is so important. As we fight our battles, compassionate action takes a positive light to an otherwise negative situation. Showing others that we care through understanding their perspective makes people feel valued. And what truly makes compassion is taking the action needed to make an impact. No matter what this action looks like, it is up to us to take that first step toward creating a climate of compassion.